I can be a virgin but not have a pure heart. I can be a leader at church but not be pure in thought or have pure intentions. That sometimes people are afraid of change because they think that change is bad for them. You need to stop asking the question of why are you like this, but instead start asking questions of what happened to you. In the state of I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too, how is it making you feel? If you are the only Jesus that some people will ever see, is God in trouble? Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. If you are new on this channel and you are seeing my pretty face for the first time, hi and welcome. My name is Natasha and this is a space where we share experiences, we learn and we grow. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so just by clicking on that subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit your notification bell so that you never miss out on any of my videos going forward. For all the returning family members, welcome back, fam. You know the house rules. You make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. We interact in the comment section below and we share the video so that we can reach more people. Guys, today I'm sharing with you guys my favorite books of 2026. So let me tell you, I planned to read a lot last year, but life shook me, okay? My life took a turn that I never expected late last year, and because of that, a lot of things changed. And as a result, I was so distracted and I was so occupied by other things. So I had to prioritize. And unfortunately, reading was one of the things that I had to not give up necessarily, but I was distracted from, and I couldn't do as much as I wanted to. But there are 5 books that I did read last year that absolutely changed my life, and I would like to share them with you in hopes that they will do the same for you. So, in no particular order, the first book that I read in 2025, that is one of my favorite books right now, is Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. Guys, this book helped me during a season of change at work. I never realized that I was a person who struggled with change until I went through a situation at work and I realized there's a part of my character that needs a bit of building. So I had seen this book multiple times making rounds on the socials, and I decided to give it a chance by reading it. And let me tell you, my mind was blown. So the analogy in the book is so simple. It's about mice and a cheese. And the symbolism is that the cheese symbolizes what people want in life, which is success, security, money, relationships, happiness, etc. The entire story is an allegory because the characters and the events represent real life situations about dealing with change. The cheese is the metaphor for the goals and rewards that people pursue. And the analogy, as explained, is the story as a whole between the mice searching for cheese in a maze and people navigating change in life and work. So, for example, the cheese are the things that you value or strive for. The mice and the little people are different ways that people respond to change. And the maze is the environment where people seek opportunities such as career, business, life, relationship, etc. So for me, the biggest lesson, without giving away too much, the biggest lesson that I learned from this book was that sometimes people are afraid of change because they think that change is bad for them. Yo, when I learned this lesson, I was like, this is me. Because for a very long time, in as much as I'm a person who adapts easily to change, but there is a part of me that fears change in the beginning. And I think there are certain changes in life that I'm more comfortable with and others that I'm not comfortable with. And I needed to learn to not be selective over things that change in my life, but actually allow all different types of change to happen if they need to, and also realize that any type of change that happens in my life is not always bad change. So that was the first book. The second book that changed my life, and that is my favorite book of 2025. I actually forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that this will be a review and recommendation of my favorite books of 2025. But yeah, anyways, so the second book that was my favorite book of 2025 was this one, Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. And basically, based on my notes, this book will help you to understand that people think and communicate and behave differently. And it helps to learn how to adapt your communication style so that you can work better with other people. And I love how the book uses simple personality models with four colors, which is red, yellow, green, and blue. And it explains that people who are reds are sometimes found as people who are direct, decisive, results focused. People who are yellow are social, enthusiastic, and relationship focused. People who are green are calm, patient, and supportive. And people who are blue are analytic, careful, and detail focused. So, the core message of this book is that people aren't necessarily difficult or idiots. They may simply have a different communication style from yours. Let me tell you guys a story of why this actually also is one of my favorite books of 2025. So, once again, I went through a situation at work, and let me just tell you guys a story. So, a new person was hired in my previous workplace, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. Whoa, differences in characters and personalities. I was shook. I was just like, where do you come from? And why are you like this? And I once mentioned, I think, in the book review that I did previously. If you want to watch it, you can watch it on my channel. There's a book I read. I think it was the book by Oprah Winfrey. And what's the name of the book? Let me quickly check. Yes, the book titled "What Happened to You." And basically, one of the core messages in the book is that we need to stop asking the question of why are you like this, but instead start asking questions of what happened to you. Because most of the time, it's not only about why a person is like that, but people are the way they are because of what happened to them. So, yeah, when that situation transpired at work, this new person was hired, and I thought at that time they were being difficult and they were making our work life difficult, until I read this book and I realized that this is just a situation of dealing with someone who has different personality, and it doesn't necessarily mean that this person is an idiot, but they may simply just have a different communication style. So the book also highlights the fact that how recognizing these differences can help you reduce misunderstandings, improve relationships, communicate more effectively, handle conflict better, and become more persuasive. I think the last point that I'd like to highlight about this book is that it also helps us to understand that just because people do things differently and they are different, it doesn't mean they are wrong and we are right. So, yeah, that was the second book. The third book that I read in 2025 that changed my life was this book by Rorisang Tandeki. So she is a South African, I'd say she's an evangelist, if I'm not mistaken, but she also preaches. And the book is inspired by the Bible verse, First Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, which says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." So I just want to read a few pages to you quickly before I go to the lessons that I learned. The script that I will read is on page 137, and it says, "I have become a person who values marriage but does not put it on a pedestal. I understand it as the gift and blessing it is, especially when I consider that the Bible describes it as the illustration of God's love for his people. Because I know how serious marriage is, and I don't believe it's something that can be entered into lightly." For context, Rory Sang is, I think she's 30 something, if I'm not mistaken, and she is still a virgin. And she explains basically in the book, okay, so in the book, she gives a bit of her life story about how she became who she is and everything that she went through. And well, she doesn't share everything, but she shares some insights and a bit of a life story basically. And because she is this 30 something year old virgin who has never had sex, a lot of people love to judge her and always remind her that her time is running out, and she needs to find a man, she needs to get married and have kids. So that is what this specific page was responding to, and I really really loved that because people idolize marriage so much, and society encourages it a lot, as though having kids and getting married and finding a man is like the ultimate achievement that a woman needs to have in her life. So I really loved that she highlighted that. And then on page 147 she says, staying a virgin is what's expected of me as a follower of God. It's not the reason for me to see myself as better than others. And then she says, I can be a virgin but not have a pure heart. I can be a leader at church but not be pure in thought or have pure intentions. If you're not pure in heart, it means you have forgotten what you received, where you received your salvation, rather. In our society, when Christians do the obvious, things such as no drinking, no smoking, no partying, no sex, they fall into the trap of thinking they are right with God. They feel like they've done everything they should, and this leads to a sense of entitlement in their relationship with God. This really stood out for me, and I really loved the fact that she highlighted that, because I do really feel, especially in the Christian community, there is a sense of entitlement, and people think just because they don't do all of these things, then it means that they are right with God. But I've mentioned this so many times on my channel before, that people can have the religion but not have the relationship with God. And then on page 153, she says, in my time working in churches and for the greater church as the community of believers in Christ, I have seen a tendency among us to be checklist Christians. We go to church, we read the Bible, we participate in cell groups, and we take all of these things off as good and right. We reward ourselves for meeting these requirements, forgetting that God is the rewarder. He is the one who can tell us whether we have done well or not. We put ourselves on pedestals and pat ourselves on the back, acting high and mighty and forgetting that it is by grace that we are saved. It is by grace that we are even given access to God. It's not due to any deserving of our own. Yo, guys, this book is really a really, really good book. I would really recommend it, especially if you are in your Christian walk and you want to grow in your Christian walk and become a better person. And if you want to grow your relationship with God, I would really highly recommend this book. And then I want to read, what's this? Yes, page 179 says, importantly, Christians should not speak to sound better or make themselves look important. It is about teaching people about God and changing their perspective of Him and not of yourself. So for me, the lessons that I learned in this book was that God is not using me, but He is loving me, and being confident and standing firm in my beliefs. And that it's important for us to spread the gospel in a gracious manner, and it's about teaching the gospel and not to look better, i.e., to be egocentric or boastful, and we must aspire to instantly be recognizable kingdom people. So, yeah, if you want to grow your relationship with Christ and your walk with Christ, this book. This book is for you. It will help you to become a better disciple and to stand firm in your faith. And then the fourth book that I read in 2025, that is my favorite book, is this one, Girls Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. It's a shame-free plan for embracing and achieving your goal. Okay, so the book basically helps you to stop the habit of shrinking yourself to meet other people's expectations, and it helps you to give yourself permission to pursue your goals unapologetically. And Rachel Hollis basically argues that women often apologize for their ambitions, they put others' needs ahead of their own. They hold themselves back because of fear, guilt, or self doubt. We wait for permission or validation before taking action. And the book basically encourages women to identify the excuses and limiting beliefs that are holding them back, to take responsibility for their lives and goals, to build confidence through consistent action, and to embrace ambition without feeling guilty about it. I really, really love this book. It's a book that encourages women to own their ambitions, to stop seeking permission, and to go after their goals. So I want to read a few lines from the book, page 27. Let's start off at page 27. And she says, if not now, then when? I asked my ill kempt reflection. I was living my entire life waiting for a moment to be special enough for me to look, feel, and act my best. And the truth is, you don't need a special moment or any reason at all to do that. If not now, then when? This saying became my mantra and the answer to a dozen different questions. And then page 58. Oh, wait, let's go to page 36 to 40. Come on. Yes. Page 36 to 40. So, page 36 says, you need to write a letter from your truth to extinguish the lies about who you really are. So, if you worry that you overweight and out of shape, then write a letter to yourself about all the times in your life when your body was incredible. Did you play sports as a child? Did you carry a baby inside yourself? Did you grow another human life? Those arms that are too squishy and unturned, how many times have those arms offered love and comfort to other people? How often have those arms helped you care for your family or do your job or create your art? You think your dream is too big, too impossible. Write down all the times you did things nobody thought that you could. And then it goes on and says, on page 38 and 39, someone said something, someone spoke into your insecurity about yourself. So you've spent a lifetime questioning yourself and accepting what they said as truth. The crazy thing is, it's not true, it's an opinion. You've got to stop blaming your problems on the world. You can't be like, well, I got teased my entire adolescence, now I'm insecure. Or my parents did these things to me, so now I can't cope. I'm not belittling the trauma we hold back from our childhoods. So, because whoever said the thing to you, your mom, your sister, the mean girl, or the mean boy in high school, or whoever it was, they don't get they don't get an opinion on your life. They're not in the ring. They're not in the game. They're not the one taking the punches. That's you. It's a simultaneous thing. You can't live your life for the opinions, and you also can't keep blaming them. You need to embrace your path. You need to accept that whatever happened did happen, and choose to be mindful of the steps that you've got to take now to heal and get past those things. And then she says, does it make you feel better about yourself? Does it make you kinder to people when you live in that state of misery, in the state of, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too. How is it making you feel? Guys, this part, these couple of lines I've read to you really stood out for me because I grew up, and I've shared this, I think, in the video about my gluttony testimony and how I used to overeat because I wanted to gain weight. So these lines that I've just read to you really stood out for me because I struggled a lot with being skinny and I was teased a lot because of that. So yeah, this book, guys, oh my gosh, it really, really made me realize that I need to stop apologizing for who I am, the way I've been created, and embrace it, and just show up as who I am and make the most of it and love myself the way I am. And then I also want to read to you guys a few lines on page 58. It says, sis, don't be afraid of failure. Be afraid of never achieving anything at all because you are too afraid of what others might think of you for trying. And then page 59 says, please note, I didn't call this section of the book legitimate obstacles to get around. I called it excuses to let go of. The fact that someone has already done the thing you're dreaming of shouldn't be a deterrent. It should be a sign that you're on to something. So, yeah, if you want a book that will encourage you to stop apologizing for your dreams, to overcome self limiting beliefs, and to take action towards the life you want, then this is the book for you. And lastly, the last book that was my favorite book of 2025 was Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne OG. And it says how God tricked me into the life of my dreams. So a lot of you might know Yvonne OG. She is the girl who acts on Insecure, and she is an actress and comedian. So the book is part faith and part personal development, and it basically teaches us to trust God's plan even when it doesn't make sense, because his detours often lead to something better than what we imagine. So I love, one of the things I love about the book is how she shares the word of God in such a humorous manner. And I love people who share the word of God in a way that others can easily understand it and others can easily catch on. So in her book, she shares her life story. And one of the things that she does share about her life story is how she was pressurized by her family to pursue a career that she didn't want to pursue. So they wanted her to do, I think, something along the lines of medicine, right? Because she says here, a failed doctor, she blames organic chemistry. And then she took on comedy after needing a talent for a beauty pageant. So basically, her family wanted her to become a doctor and she wanted to become a comedian. The book takes us through her career life, the struggles that she went through, and how things became so bad, and how she almost gave up on her comedian career, and how God came through for her more than anything. And more importantly, the biggest lesson that I learned from the book is that if you are ever jealous about someone's success or life, please also remember to be envious about their struggles, pain, and challenges, because it took them something to be where they are today. And you can't want someone's good without the bad. Listen, sometimes we look at people who are successful, who are making it, and we envy, sometimes we compare, we contrast, we become jealous, worst case scenario. And we don't realize that everyone is where they are because of something they needed to go through. Yes, there are people who are fortunate to have privilege, and some people don't have to go through struggles, pain, and challenges to get what they want and to be where they are. But for most people, challenges, pain, struggles are part of the story to success. So you can't just want someone's success. You can't just want someone's happiness. You can't just want someone's good life, without actually also taking on the bad things, the pain, the challenges, the tears, the blood, the sweat, and all of that comes with the success. So that for me was one of the biggest lessons. And I just want to read a couple of lines from the book for you guys. We will start with page 36, if I can find it quickly. And we'll start at page 36. It says, for such a time as this, maybe that job had to let you go, because if not, you never would have started the business. Maybe you had to move cross country because your small town would have limited your potential. Page 37, it says, Jesus never asks us to know everything before we start. He just asks us to get going. He'll give you what you need along the way. And then it says, like Esther, though through that single act of boldness, God provided the right people who would use their power, their ability, and their influence on my behalf. And then she continues to say, don't you miss out on your blessing because you stuck between reason and logic. Everything in you might be shouting, what if it doesn't work? But try switching, perspectives for a hot second and focus instead on what if it does work? More would be gained than lost, and not just for you, but for everyone connected to you. And then I want to quickly go to page 89. And page 89 says, this one was a really powerful one for me. It says, if you are the only Jesus that some people will ever see, is God in trouble? Yo, guys, what a word. And then we'll go quickly to page 112. And it says, when there's a blessing with your name on it, God will assign the right people to be compelled to help you. And then just a few more, page 116, it says, whether you realize there's a blessing with your name on it or not doesn't stop it from existing. Other people see it even if you don't. And if you refuse to act on it, you'll forfeit it while they take advantage of it. And then page 117 lastly says, God caused the sound to create so much confusion within the enemy's camp that the Midianites ended up killing each other. There are some battles God will send you into, but because He's already sworn to Himself to bless you, you won't even have to break a sweat. You are who you've been waiting on to release your own blessing. I was praying for God to send me a job offer, a TV role, an agent or manager, but instead God sent me to battle for my breakthrough. One last thing that I want to mention that I really loved that was mentioned in this book is that fear is false evidence appearing real. So do not allow false evidence that appears to be real to control your life. So yeah, guys, those are the 5 books that I read. These are all the 5 books that were my favorite rather in 2025 and that I read in 2025. I really hope that this inspires you to maybe get 1 or 2 of these books, and maybe through this recommendation and review you will be inspired to actually buy these books. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please do share in the comment section some of your book suggestions and recommendations. We would really love to hear what you are reading. I personally would love to hear what you are reading, and if there is a book or 2 or even more that have stood out for you, have changed your life, and you would like to share them with other people, please let us know what those books are so that we can get reading. If you have watched until this far, please do leave us a nice heart emoji in the comment section just to indicate to me that you have watched until this far. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and give this video a thumbs up. I will catch you guys in the next video. Goodbye.